So I'm going to do a video on basically what I feed, how I feed and why I feed. Most of the feed products that I use are versatile lager, like I said in an earlier video. When I've always flown the channel and the distance races and the long distance races, over the years I've always fed versatile lager. I've gone back to it because I know how to feed it. I know what to get out of it. I know what I do get out of it. So I'm going to try and make it as simple as I can and explain everything and why I feed, what I feed and when I feed it. At the moment, we're middle of January near enough. The stock birds are paired up. They're currently on, they've been sitting about 10 days. So they're currently on this, and it's Versal Lager Start Plus. It's about 15%, 15.5% protein, 5 or 6% fats, 50 odd percent carbohydrates. It's a good balanced mix. Like I said, I'm lucky because I work from home. I go in twice a day. Well, I go in 3 times a day actually. I go in at dinner time as well. So I go in first thing at morning. They're fed in the pots, so they get 2 handfuls each box in the pot first time at morning. But what I also do, I also have a trough with peas in. That's there all the time. You'll find that they don't start eating the peas until the youngsters get about 10, 11, 12 days old, and then they'll start hammering the peas. So at dinner time I'll go back in again. They get another handful of the Versal Lager Start Plus. Same again at tea time, another 2 handfuls. You try and keep the waste down as much as you can. So basically they're getting, I'd say, 6.5, 7 ounce in the pots every day for 4 pigeons, which is 2 adults and 2 youngsters in the nest. There is a bit of waste doing it like this, but after a couple of days I'll empty the pot. You'll find that some pairs like certain grains and other pairs don't. Feeding like this, I very rarely get like a wet nest or anything like that. If I do, I'll give them clay blocks and plenty of grit, and you'll find within a couple of days it tends to sort them out. But last year I don't think I had 1 wet nest. So feeding this way, it just sort of eliminates that. So the youngsters are in the nest. We'll wean them onto this. Once they're weaned, they'll be weaned off on the Start Plus for about, I don't know, a week, 8 or 9 days, till they start perching up properly. Like I said, I'm flying. I'm concentrating on channel racing from now on. I'm not sprinting. My youngsters aren't on the dog. If they're on the dog, I'd leave them on this type of mixture, high protein, fairly low fats, but I'd leave them on an high protein mixture until near enough they've gone through that body mold. What I do, as soon as they're perching up after about 10 days, so they're on the Start Plus for 10 days, then they move on to this. Oh, sorry, it's this one. The Jerry Plus. As soon as they start perching and going out into the cage on the trap, I'll switch them over gradually to the Jerry Plus, perhaps a third, then 2/3, and then full Jerry Plus. Over a period of about a week, 10 days, I'll switch them over to this. It's a very light, easily digestible mix. They'll stay on this all the way through. So I'll let the young ones out once a day. They're fed near enough as much of this as they want every day. If they stop flying, I mean, if they go out and they're not flying after a couple of weeks and, you know, taking to the air and they're a bit podgy, they've put a bit of weight on, I'll put them on this. I only buy 1 bag of depured every year. Well, I will do from now on, and it'll last me the whole year. But I'll put them on this for 5, 6, 7 days, just to get a bit of weight off them. If they got a bit podgy and they're a bit stale and they're not flying, then I'll put them on the depurative for 5 or 6 days. And you'll find that one after a few days, you know, they'll start to take to the air a bit better and start flying a bit better. But like I say, most of the time they're on the Jerry Plus. They fly their heads off it. It's an easily digestible food. It goes through them really fast. So once you do get them flying and flying properly, you can basically feed as much as, within reason, as much as you want. I don't sort of starve my young uns, you know, because I only let them out once a day, and the routine's the same time every day. I can near enough feed as much of this as I want, and it's like anything, the more you feed the more they fly. But if they do go stale on me or anything, like I said, but they're not flying how I want them to fly, I'll give them a few days on the depurative. Like I say, I only buy one bag a year, it lasts me the whole year. Every morning with the youngsters, 8 o'clock, they get a couple of handfuls of this, the diet. It's just to take the hunger off them. It's digested really fast, so like I say, they're going out at 2 o'clock, 6 hours later, this will be digested, they'll be ready for the fly. Hopefully they'll fly an hour and a half, and then they'll come back in onto the Jerry Plus. The old birds, I've always flown widowwood over the channel near enough for 30 odd years, widowwood cocks, and I've always fed this. It's Superstar Plus. I have a spoon. I've had it for, I don't know, must be 30 odd 40-year-old this. That spoon, or that amount on a spoon holds about, I'd say 15-18 grams. So they get one of them at morning, one of them at night. The cocks are fed in the boxes, they always have been. I don't like feeding I feed on the floor in a tray in winter, but when they're racing I don't feed in a tray. The widowwood cocks are fed in the boxes, in a pot. I can see what they're eating individually. I can prepare, because I only have a small team, I can prepare individual pigeons for certain races, and alter their feed individually, whereas if you're feeding in a trough on the floor, you're feeding the whole team the same thing all the time. So they're always fed in the boxes. Like I said, that's 15-18 grams. You get one of them at morning, one of them at night. Anything that eats all its feed at night, I don't do it at morning, they just get the spoon at morning, the near enough level spoon. But anything that eats all its food at night, I'll keep going and just give him a bit more until he's, like I say, all the pigeons are different. They're like people, they all have a different metabolism. So they will get a touch more until he's, you know, I've satisfied his hunger and he's satisfied, he's leaving a few grains. Then after 20 minutes, the pots are emptied and that's it for the day. I am going to race some hens this year. I'm going to try, obviously like I've said, I'm only interested in distance racing. I haven't had a vet visit this year, so I'm just using this year to find out what I've got. I haven't raced properly for 2 years. I've only sent to a few races in the last couple of years. I'm just going to find out what I've got in the race team. There's only about 13 or 14 that I can race. Cocks and hens, that is. I've I think there's 6 cocks I can race and 7 hens. So it's a small team. But I'm going to feed the hens similar. Perhaps I'm going to just play it by ear with the hens, because obviously you've got to be careful with the hens because they do pair up. And they can go a bit stale on you if you feed a bit too heavy. But I'm going to try them on the Superstar Plus. Perhaps not to full appetite like I would with the cocks, but they're only going out once a day. So same thing for the hens as well. They'll get the diet mix in the morning, a couple of handfuls, between 7 or 8 of them, just to satisfy their appetite again. But like I said, the cocks will get a spoonful of that, the Superstar Plus at the morning, a spoonful at the night. In the night, you'll notice here there's no fat mix. I've never been a fan of feeding these modern fat mixes. I got a bit of a scare about 10 years ago with the whole peanut saga, with the fungi and the toxins in them and stuff like that. So I tried some of the modern day high energy, high fat mixes. I didn't find them as good as feeding the humble peanut. Now when I say feeding peanuts, I don't go in there with big handfuls. Once we get to about 150 mile, as young birds I'll give them a couple of peanuts just every day, just a few between them, just to get them used to them. But once we get to 150 mile, the widowwood cocks used to get 3 peanuts every night in the box. I don't like sort of the last 3 or 4 days giving them fats. I'd rather, whether this is me, there'll be a lot of people disagree with this, I'd rather build the fats up over a period of time, so this, and you know, they're stored in the body. Pigeons do store fats, so they're stored in the body. They built up over a period of time. I'm not giving them a lot of oil seeds and seeds that can go like a bit wrong in the crop. Oil seeds can, if you read up about it, especially sunflower hearts, they can produce toxins if they're not digested, you know, immediately and stuff like that. But I've never been a big fan of them. Like I say, I'll feed the same again this year and next year when I go back up flying over the channel. I'll feed the peanuts, just a couple every day. Don't go mad. They will pile weight on if you do go mad, but just 2 or 3 every day, just building up slowly, just building them fat reserves nice and slow, and it's always done the job. Like I say, I've done this, fed this system for 25 years. The 90s, when the plus, in the early 90s I fed Versalager Super Widowwood, and then I switched to the Superstar Plus and all the plus mixes when they brought them out in the late 90s. So I switched over to them. Like I said, the peas, I don't like feeding a lot of stuff like this, peas and beans and things like that. They're hard to digest. There's easier ways of giving a pigeon protein nowadays without feeding heavy, hard to digest grains like this. I certainly won't be giving my young birds anything like this. I think for young birds, you want something like the Jerry Plus, something that's easily digestible. You won't run into as many problems feeding light, easily digestible mixes. I think the Jerry Plus is about 12% protein. That's more than enough. So on return from the races, they'll get the Superstar Plus mixed with the Start Plus, mixed with some of the diet. This is actually Racing Diet 2000 by Bamford's. Some of the diet, an handful of peas. I've focused more, it's a bit hard to explain this bit, I focus more on recovery than I sort of do towards the end of the week. I think what you do at the beginning of the week, once you've got your first race out of the way, I think recovery is more important than what you're feeding at the end of the week. So at the end, obviously all week they're on the Superstar. So if it's been a really hard race, they'll get that recovery mix, which is a bit of everything. Let them pick out what they want to eat. They know what they need. If they need protein, you'll see them eating the peas. You know, if you sit and watch them, you'll see them eat exactly eat exactly what everything. You know, certain pigeons will pick the peas up, certain pigeons will eat the maize. You know, they want energy, they want protein, but the pigeon knows what it wants. So just Saturday, Sunday, let it pick what it wants. They don't go out Sundays. Monday, we're back onto the routine with the cocks and the hens, so they'll be back on the Superstar Plus, and that's it. That's as easy as it is, really. Like I said, don't feed a fat mix. I just feed the peanuts. I've done it for 30 odd years, and this type of feeding I wouldn't feed like this for sprinting. I wouldn't feed quite as heavy as this for sprinting, but I've done this fed this system for, like I said, 30 odd years. This, if you want to, you're a small team and you want to get your pigeons home, you don't want to be sat there at the channel wondering, well, have they got enough in them to get them home. This feeding like this will get them home, trust me. As long as the pigeon's capable of coming home and doing what you're asking it to do, feeding this way will get your pigeons home. I'm just going to add this this last bit on. So on Thursdays, I'll feed them near enough as much as they want to the Superstar Plus. I won't completely pack them out, but they will get a bit extra, so they won't get completely packed out. Same with the young birds. I feed them a bit extra of the Jerry Plus on a Thursday, the day before basketing. They won't go mad because they'd fed near enough to appetite most days anyhow. Fridays, young birds and old birds, they get 20-25 grams of the diet. I won't send them to work on an empty stomach. I never have done. Whether it's right or wrong, I know some people don't feed on a Friday. I don't agree with it, but like I say, I won't send them to work on an empty stomach. So they get 20-25 grams of the diet mix. It'll be taken away 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, so they've 5 or 6 hours to digest it. When you go to the club, the crop's completely empty. They'll have had a good drink, and they're ready for the race on Saturday. Like I said, I won't send anything to a race on an empty stomach.